Okay, live right now. And the topic for today's live is understanding the JavaScript concepts. And it is about asynchronous callback function. Basically, it is callback versus promise versus async await. And what is the difference between these three? Uh, Not sure if how many are interested in this JavaScript tutorial, but I have got some info here and I'm reading it out for understanding the difference between callback, promise, and async await. So, uh, what is a callback? Callback is a function which is passed as a parameter to another function. The callback function is then executed, perform some action. There are two types of callback function. They are synchronous callback function. The synchronous callback function are functions which execute synchronously without any blocking operation. In the following example, the function say hello is invoked with text hello, and print function acts as a callback function. I think there should have been some mechanism to share my screen along with me reading it out loud because is there a way to share that? Okay, I'll better continue. From the say hello function, the text value is propagated to the callback function print and response is printed. Function print data is a function here. Then there is another function say hello, text callback and has a callback text. And then finally we have a function called say hello, which has two parameters. One is the string hello and another is the function print. I don't know if print should be a generic keyword. So how do they allow using print over there? Uh, so going forward, there is another title here, asynchronous callback. The asynchronous callback functions are functions passed as a parameter for asynchronous operations and gets invoked once the operation is completed. The set timeout is one of the example of asynchronous callback. The print function is passed as a callback and it shall be invoked after 1 second. So here they are passing 1000 milliseconds time, and that is how the function is getting called for 1 second. Then now there is an explanation that what are the pitfalls of a callback function. Nested callbacks can be cumbersome and hard to read. That is exactly the reason we will not be using callbacks. Try to avoid callbacks as much as possible. Failure callback need to be called once for each level of nesting. Okay. So not sure how I can share my screen simultaneously while talking and don't know. Well, I'll better read it out loud so that my live goes on and gets recorded for the session. Order processing pseudocode using callback, and yes, they have given an example that how such a nested loop creates a very you know not that better coding. What should I say? Doesn't provide the cleaner code. So we are in need of clean code, and here in every stage the error needs to be handled and propagated to caller function. Okay, so now we are moving towards, in order to mitigate the problem caused by old school callback style, the promise feature is introduced in JavaScript. Promise object represents the eventual completion of an asynchronous operation and its responding value. A promise should be in one of the following three states: pending, fulfilled, and rejected. So these are the three states of a promise, and it just acts like a uh, I mean, it provides better and clean code. What was I saying about it? It gives us like try catch, like try catch blocks. It helps us to make uh, a better coding and cleaner coding. I mean, it gives a better and cleaner code for us if we use promise instead of callbacks. So the syntax of promise is that okay, now I think it was introduced in ECMAScript 2015 Vala version. So it is the latest introduction in JavaScript, and the callback function needs to be passed to the promise constructor to resolve or reject on completion of asynchronous event. In the following example, the set interval callback is wrapped as a promise, and then function is evoked to resolve the response. So what technology do they use here is that like wait a sec, let me focus here. Const set interval promisified equals to interval arrow function const callback equals to response and reject. Res means response and rej is reject. So passes time as a parameter over there. Execution output promise pending order processing pseudocode. So yeah, get user info and then this, then this, then this, then do notification, finally catch, handle error. So it has a better layout of coding and eliminates the nested statements. Observation here, the error handling is controlled using single catch block. Promising chaining is implemented to handle async operations sequentially. And then finally comes async await. And what is the difference between promise and callback and async await? Async await is the third, and it is a syntactical sugar for the promise. The async function contains a zero or more await function, await keyword. The async await make the code look like a synchronous programming style. When the await function is invoked, the code execution gets blocked, and the next line of execution starts only when the await operation is completed. Wow. Const init timer, initialize timer, async interval, const, and then finally initialize timer. So order management pseudocode using async await. So okay, basically these three have just syntactical difference, and I see that we should use async await as much as possible, and we can use promises as well, but we should try to eliminate callback. So it has been 8 minutes. I think it's enough for now. I'm not sure if anything is like remaining in this one. I wish I could add these. I can add. I should add this link so that it becomes a reference that what I was referring to, and also they have given some good examples and quite a small blog, but a very helpful one. This I was reading a blog by Ashok Jaiprakash on medium.com. So thank you, Ashok Jaiprakash. Cool. Looks like a great learning, and I'll see you next time in another live, hopefully. So that's it. Let us see if my first live is recorded. Thank you very much. Bye bye.